What's happening? What's happening, people? Listen, I'm gonna keep it brief and short to you with you this on this particular situation. What we're looking at is this: the situation that's happening out in LA is crazy because a lot of the situations that are happening is based upon a guy that you voted for, and he turned around and he flipped it. And you know, we as a culture, we understand how far we are going to allow for a situation to be trust, to have trust involved. Because what you're looking at is, it's a dog-eat-dog world. It is. We can sit back and try to say, hey, listen, man, you know, this and this and that, unity and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to be us. Nobody wants to be affiliated with us. So, you know, when you come across a situation and people are going back and forth, man, just, you know, as a culture, we just like, man, listen, we done had our share. We've gone through that process. You know, we still are fighting for rights and things of that nature that, you know, quote unquote equal. But it's not a even playing field. You know, and your heart goes out because you sit back and you say, man, how much do we have to endure? How much do we have to go through? Enough is enough. You know, judge me on the content of my character. You know, if I'm a no good person, then you judge me based on the fact that I'm a no good person. But if I come to you with good character standings, solid person, then judge me based on that. Don't judge me based on something that you don't know anything about me. Judge me based on the simple fact of you knowing me. You know, so I hate it that, you know, that community is going through that. My heart goes out to them. Because the one thing about it is that they real quick to acknowledge and let you know where you are and where you stand and what lane they think that you should be in. You know? So my advice is just understand, fight to make yourself legitimized. You got to try to do it the right way. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You can't continue to keep going down this road thinking that someone owes us anything. You know. I had a long conversation today with my mom, and it was just a lot of, you know, back and forth and understanding, because what we want to try to do is the people that we love and we care about, we want to be able to keep them humble, but also keep them level, because at the end of the day, just because I think something doesn't make it true. Just because I think a certain way doesn't mean that the way that I think is correct. But there are guidelines that are put in place for you to follow. And, you know, I talk about it a lot. I go back and forth a lot. A lot of people might say, hey, man, you opinionated to this aspect of it. But the reality of it, that is that a lot of things that are going on are out of balance anyway. So relationships, marriages, all this kind of stuff is going to the crap, because we are thinking that we should be in a certain place, we should have a certain type of lifestyle, but you're not willing to put in the work to have that type of lifestyle. So you want something to be given, not earned. And when something is given, that comes with conditions. If I'm providing provision, an abundance of provision, that comes with a certain recommendation of how I want this to be, because I hold the cards. And for that guy that's not, the ladies guy or that type of situation, and then he has to turn around, and now that he's in a position, you can't make him not forget about everything he had to do to get to that place, because it took a lot of dedication, determination, education to be in that position. If you got a guy that's out here doing well for himself, it's a lot of hard work that went into that. So it was not something that was just given. He earned whatever he got, whether he chose to do it legally or illegally. He has to deal with those consequences. But if you can find someone that can do it legally, go for it. We have to be in reality to the point where as we have to really think about what it is that we're doing, the steps that we're doing, the steps that we're making. Who is it benefiting? If I'm doing something that's not going to put me in a position where I want to be, I need to stop doing it. If I'm in a position where I want to be at a certain place, or I want to be in a certain situation, then I need to educate myself to the point where wherever I want to be, I need to be able to educate myself to that plateau. And if I don't know it, I need to find it. Research, do whatever you need to do to find it. But find your goal, find your path, and work on that. Once you work on that, improving yourself, everything else will come into place. This has been a learning situation for myself, because, going through a process, always being in relationships, all that kind of thing, and when you're in a situation where in a space by yourself and you got time to heal, you got time to sit back and ask those questions to yourself that you need to answer. But you got to be very honest when you are asking questions. You got to be. And if you're not, you're never going to be able to truly say that you are healing from that position. Because if I can lie to myself, I can lie to anybody else. When I can't lie to myself, that means I have to hold myself accountable for the wrongs that I've done, to the people that I've hurt. I got to be held accountable for that. So you got to go through the process of learning what it is that you like, that you don't like, things that you feel that you're not going to deal with while you compromising them. But I have to be in reality when I'm asking things of you. Now, if I'm not asking, things that's going to make you change this or change that, or ask you to compromise and do all this kind of stuff, if it's something that is going to make our situation better, then why am I not doing it? Same thing with men. If I'm in a position where I can see the changes that I need to make me a better person and to make me a better person in a relationship, then why am I not at least reviewing it to see if there's some validity to it? We got to always keep ourselves in checks and balances. We do. Because if we don't, we'll go off the deep end in a minute. So let's be real with that. It's a beautiful night. We've had a lot of rain here in Atlanta, so You know, all I can do is just say, hey, I'm blessed to be able to say, hey, we have another day that I've seen. I've had an opportunity to grow from, learn from my mistakes, have in-depth conversations, and be around like-minded people that see life in a general standpoint. It's nothing personal, but you got to be able to deal with the issues and concerns that affect you. You got to be able to do that. Great cigar. Great cigar. Man, great cigar. But hey, listen. I thank everyone that reviews my comments, my views, just my whole thing. You know, you watch my stuff. I appreciate you so heartily from that. You know, from the bottom of my heart, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to. So I appreciate the time and energy that you take to listen to the things that I say. If you can utilize some of the information, utilize it. I talk about a variance of a lot of different things, from cigars to life, to relationships, to love, to business, to health. You know, it's just a plethora of a lot of things that we talk about. And these are the same conversations that we have, you know what I'm saying, when we go and we smoke our cigars at the shop and all that kind of stuff. Because, you know, it's an opportunity to have guys that, well, it's not necessarily guys, but people, because it's a mixed crowd. And you got opportunity to get opinions and views and thought patterns of a lot of different people. So why would I not pay attention to what they're saying? Because everybody's truth is their facts. Even if it's not really a fact, it's their fact. So we have to go through the process of trying to say, hey, listen, that's how you think. Nothing. If you're not open to trying to at least listen to what it is that someone is saying without jumping the fence to it, that's on you. That's on you. Because you have to keep a level head about everything that you're doing. When someone is telling you something, you got to be able to listen to what it is that they're saying. Now, if they're saying something that's out of envy or jealousy, it'll show. But if they're being true-hearted about what they're saying to you, because they want you to stay in the now and not la la land, that's the reality. Smoke well, my friends. Enjoy. Be careful out there.